Hello, I'm Tom Rothman of 20th Century Fox. Welcome to Fox Legacy. We're glad to have you with us tonight.
I want you to buy 20,000 shares of Blue Star at 15 1/8, 3/8 tops. And don't screw it up, sport. Think you can handle that?
Mephistopheles. Now, there's a bad guy for you. It's like, Faust, come sign for your soul, please. But you see, really bad guys make for really good movies, especially when they're seductive and charming rogues who come bearing the promise of all we could ever desire.
You do good, you get perks. Lots of perks.
Wall Street is the ultimate Faustian tale of the go-go 80s in the world of high finance. And it's also illustrative of one of the basic, though surprising and fun fundamentals of cinema, that villains are often far more memorable than heroes. And the devil of Wall Street, one Gordon Greed is Good Gekko, is just such a villain.
You ever wonder why fund managers can't beat the S&P 500? Because they're sheep. Sheep get slaughtered.
You see, Agent Starling appeals to us, but Hannibal Lecter fascinates. Luke Skywalker's a likable enough fellow, but Darth Vader is riveting. Eve Harrington, Harry Lime, Michael Corleone, Tony Montana, Norman Bates, Nurse Ratched, all endure, not just because they are deliciously villainous, but because they are complicated. They believe in what they are doing, and under their spell, they can make us, against all best judgment, understand, almost.
I wish you could see this. Lights coming up. I've never seen a painting that captures the beauty of the ocean at a moment like this. I'm gonna make you rich, Bud Fox.
Michael Douglas's creation of Gordon Gekko is right in this long line of artful bad guys. And Wall Street endures past the era of its creation because of him.
If you need a friend, get a dog.
Oliver Stone, who wrote the part of Gekko, thinking of the acid J.J. Hunsaker from The Sweet Smell of Success, was cunningly creative in casting Douglas for the role. Known till then as a charming leading man, Douglas looked and felt nothing like a villain. He's handsome, charming, seductive, and impassioned. But then, the devil doesn't come to you in ugly form, now does he?
Well, in my book, you either do it right, or you get eliminated. Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Gekko's famous Greed is Good speech is delivered with such conviction, such certainty of its own rightness that we think, well, he can't be all bad, can he? Well, he can. And so good at being bad that the one-time pretty boy, Michael Douglas, who, by the way, as an Academy Award-winning producer in his own right and a brilliant Renaissance man, was always anything but that. Well, Michael Douglas won the Academy Award for Best Actor, joining Frederick March, Anthony Hopkins, Denzel Washington, Charlize Theron, and recently Forrest Whitaker, among others. All who won Academy Awards, not for the heroes they played, but for the villain.
This is how you fucking pay me back, you cockroach? I gave you Darien. I gave you your manhood. I gave you everything.
Yet, to make a memorable villain, of course, you have to have a story with a strong moral center, because it's against that which the villain pivots. And for delivering morality in big, juicy helpings, the commercial cinema has no more entertaining polemist than bad boy writer-director extraordinaire Oliver Stone. His targets over the years? In Platoon, the hypocrisies of a foolish war. In JFK, conspiracies at the highest level of government. And in Wall Street, corruption of integrity by greed.
What I see is a jealous old machinist who can't stand the fact that his son's become more successful than he has.
What you see is a guy who never measured a man's success by the size of his wallet.
Martin Sheen's character may never have measured a man by the size of his wallet, but Stone knew that that was becoming ever more the exception in contemporary America. and Wall Street took an entire era to task over it. The film bears a dedication you should watch for. It says, to Louis Stone, stockbroker, 1910 to 1985. This is the director's father, a man who, in his son's eyes, resisted Gecko-like temptations and conducted his profession with the integrity of, Stone believed, a vanishing breed. And when huge corporate scandals broke out in the year of the film's release and the stock market itself crashed 500 points just 2 months before his opening, Stone's message found a receptive national consciousness.
Capitalism at its finest.
Sam Goldwyn Sr. had an enduring and, by the way, not apocryphal saying that filmmakers should leave the messages to Western Union, by which he meant don't preach to the audience, don't teach and instruct them. So how is it that Oliver Stone manages it? At his peak, I think he did so by crafting relentlessly entertaining films, where the character drama holds you so breathless, you don't know or care that there's a big, bold moral to the story.
Stick around, pal. I still got a lot to teach you.
Obviously.
Stone's update on that Goldwynism might be something like, leave the boring messages to Western Union, but bring on the urgent, exciting ones. Such a film as Wall Street, where, in the words of Gordon Gekko and Oliver Stone, money never sleeps.
All right, Mr. Gecko. You got me.
But all that was long ago and far away, wasn't it? Well, I wonder if a bad guy as good as Gordon Gekko ever really disappears. And money never sleeps. That'd be a hell of a movie title, wouldn't it?
Someone reminded me I once said, greed is good. Now it seems it's legal. Because everybody's drinking the same Kool-Aid. Now, I've been considered a pretty smart guy. And maybe I was in prison too long.
One watch and one mobile phone.
But sometimes it's the only place to stay sane and look out through those bars and say, is everybody out there nuts?
Gordon Gekko was one of the biggest names on Wall Street before he went to prison for insider trading.
That name doesn't mean anything anymore.
If it weren't for people who took risks, where would we be in this world?
You might want to wipe some of the drool off your face.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of will and taste.
Mr. Gecko! My name's Jacob Moore. I'm gonna marry your daughter.
I've been around for
My daughter hasn't spoken to me in years, and you know it.
I never knew my dad as a peaceful person. That always scared me.
pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name.
I know it sounds crazy,
Oh, yeah.
but people change.
Buzzing you with the nature of my
It's not who you think he is, Jake. He'll hurt us.
Why don't you start calling me Gordon? We're gonna be part of the family business.
You got my attention. But when you don't know what you're doing, it's fatal, Mr. Moore.
So much you don't know, Jacob.
They took my life, and when I got out, who's waiting for me? Nobody.
This is not about the money. This is about you and me.
It's about doing the right thing.
It's about the game.
I did tell you, Jake. I did warn you.
It's easy to get in. It's hard to get out.
Is that a threat?
Absolutely.
Nearly 25 years have passed since Wall Street. We may have thought that as a society we'd learned our lessons, but sadly no. As recent events have reminded us, the cost of excess is still dear. Greed as practiced by a financial industry that nearly brought the entire world economy to its knees was not good, but it was, and I suppose still is, legal. So who can we turn to shine a light on this avarice? None other than the unbridled champion of capitalism himself, Gordon Gekko. Accelerated and made hyper-relevant by the greatest economic crisis since the Depression, the new Wall Street is racing towards theaters now. Back in the role that won him an Academy Award is Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko, and back as the director orchestrating Gekko's schemes and once again painting an all-too-real and bitingly urgent picture of modern high finance and the high and low morality surrounding it is Oliver Stone himself. As sometimes happen when all the fates are in line on a project, the quality of the script for this new Wall Street, which despite all its rip from the headlines relevance, is driven more by the strong emotional drama of a father-daughter relationship and a young love story, but the script, the quality of the director, and the return of Michael Douglas has led to the assemblage of an amazing cast for the sequel. Shia LaBeouf plays a role similar in some ways to the one portrayed by Charlie Sheen. He's an idealistic investment banker who falls prey to Gekko's schemes. Shia is, of course, best known for the Transformers series, but in Wall Street 2, audiences will witness his transition from young movie star to exceptional adult actor. Rounding out the cast is an assemblage of Oscar nominees and winners: Susan Sarandon, Frank Langella, and Josh Brolin. Also, look for up-and-coming actress Carey Mulligan as Winnie Gekko. That's right, Gordon Gekko has an independent-minded daughter who just so happens to be engaged to Shia LaBeouf's character. A legendary actor returning to a role he made famous decades earlier, paired with the brightest young star in the business, both under the direction of a superior filmmaker. What the new Wall Street most reminds me of from a film history perspective is actually The Color of Money. Years later, tired and down on his luck, Paul Newman's Fast Eddie finds a path to redemption through a young Tom Cruise. The worn and lived-in quality of Newman, paired with the bursting energy and naivete of Cruise, is very like what happens on the screen now between Michael and Shia. Color of Money is not so much a sequel to The Hustler as a revisitation of its central character. It's kind of akin to Updike's Rabbit novels. And so it is with the new Wall Street. I will not spoil the film for you by giving away what Gordon Gekko's arc is, but I will tell you that he has done his time in jail, suffered his comeuppance, been forgotten and dismissed. But like Fast Eddie himself, and trust me on this, Gordon Gekko is not done. Not by a long shot. For Fox Legacy, I'm Tom Rothman, and we'll see you next time.